The spring market is like this close. When does the spring market really begin in real estate? For those who do a lot of work in the real estate business, all of them will tell you that the spring market begins much earlier than most people think. It really begins more around Super Bowl weekend, not the Easter area where most people think that it starts to show up. So what does that bring as far as expectations in 2026? Is the market going to be a lot different than the market was in other years? Well, in the Northeast, most specifically in New Jersey, it's shaping up to have some really significant changes, but at the same time, some things will remain the same. So some of the changes are the potential for lower interest rates, and lower interest rates are likely to give buyers more buying power in a world where we have not had a ton of inventory, and that will likely start to push prices back up again. At the same time, lower interest rates will allow people who have wanted to move for a while but felt locked in due to those mortgage rates on their current mortgage to consider selling their home and perhaps for the first time in a long time start to bring more inventory into the market. So we will have a situation in all likelihood where the buyer has more borrowability, it's a little stronger buyer profile, and there's more sellers entering the market, which could create for an increase in units. By units in the real estate business, that's number of transactions that take place. That's great news for realtors, but it's also good news for consumers because there are more options taking place in either direction. At the same time, you will have buyers start to get a little power back in their step. And we're seeing this start to show up. What does that mean? That for years, buyers felt like they had no option. So they would either keep their mouth shut if a situation came up and just move forward and purchase it, or they would reluctantly move forward. Now, in this world where we start to get back to a little more balance, if there's more transactions, more options, and you see a little power return to the buy side of a transaction, that will actually make the transaction itself a little more difficult, because it is easy when one side or the other has all the power. Let's be honest, when the market crashed 2010, 11, 12, the buyer had all the power. They came in, they said, oh, you're going to give me this, you're going to give me that. And if you don't, cool, I'm going to go buy one of those other 50 homes that have been sitting on the market. And the seller really didn't have much strength in that. We went through a period post-COVID where the exact opposite was the case, where the seller could say, hey, if you don't want it, take a hike because there's nothing else here, and there's a whole bunch of buyers out there. Now, this is an interesting scenario where we could see inventories elevate, but buyer strength elevate at the same time. And just the simple fact that there's more options and more movement will likely give the buyer a little more strength. And whether that is rooted in reality or whether it is rooted in ego from the buyer perspective, some buyers will take that strength and use it to bring a little more balance into the transaction, which just makes negotiations a little more difficult, a little longer perhaps. And in that market, it is more important than ever to have a real estate professional who has a significant amount of experience in those types of markets. Ability to negotiate, ability to strategize up front so we don't end up in difficult positions becomes paramount, and could be the difference of not just hundreds of thousands of dollars, but in the transaction actually closing or not. If you have any questions on this or anything else, you can always feel free to reach out to me. As always, my name is Bill Boswell, and your search ends here.